I have a fun tutorial for you today. We are going to be painting Barbie clouds. Now, this footage was taken from my online course, The Magic of Soft Pastel, during one of our Paint Together hours. And what that is, it's basically a study hall for adults. We all gather together on Zoom and everybody can paint. I always paint with my camera on and choose something to do. So this was painted to just a playlist on Zoom. It's really cool just connecting with everybody in that energy. And the Magic of Soft Pastel course is enrolling again. So I hope that you will check that out and be part of the next round. I am using a sheet of brown Pastelmat here that I cut to a square, and I am making up a foreground here. I first added some dark hard pastel. I'm going back over with another dark green just to give the darks just some difference in color. But as you can see from my reference photo, this is really all about the sky. The land in my photo isn't really much, so I'm just pulling out some trees and I'm going to keep a pretty simple foreground because I want all of the focus to be on those fun, bright pink Barbie clouds. Now I'm adding more to the foreground, just some dark green, and I want to keep it really nice and loose here. Now I'm adding a distant tree line. There's not, again, that in the reference photo, but knowing what I know about value and how to create depth allows me to just create from my imagination these scenes. And I know that cooler colors recede and it pushes them back into the distance. So I can use that cooler blue to create that distant line, and it's also a lighter value. Now I'm adding more depth using a hard pastel here into the foreground. Now it's time for the sky, and I'm starting already with a really punchy, bright pink color. This is a darker value than what I will end up with the pink in the sky, but I just want to get some color down onto the paper and give myself a nice base to work off of. So I am looking at the reference photo and I'm following the rough shape of those pink clouds. And here I'm adding some darker value shadow in a really gray purple. And again, I'm following my reference photo here. And what I notice is that you can see the blue of the sky. And then where the blue meets the pink cloud, there's some of that grayed down purple and gray blue transition that helps go from sky to pink cloud. So I am adding those shadow colors to act as that transition, but it also does just give some form to the pink clouds by having that difference of value. When we have clouds, we have to remember that they are wispy and airy, but we still rely on value, our lights and darks, in order to give them shape. Now here I'm adding a lighter purple, and I think I may have gone even a little bit too light of a value for this stage. So I kind of go back over that a little bit with more of the darker purple here, the purple shadow color. And you see me use my finger a little bit. Sometimes in the sky, I will use my finger and blend it a little bit. Pastelmat really does not blend very well, I would say. When you put a mark down on Pastelmat, it really does stick, but I still tried to soften it a little bit. And you'll see me throughout this painting going back and forth with softening the sky, blending a little bit. I'm going to use a harder pastel to do a lot of that because I really love that effect in the photo and in that scene. It had just a really soft effect with the clouds, not a whole lot of hard edges, and I really do want to capture that. So now I'm starting to add in the blue portions of the sky where we can see it peeking through those pink clouds. I'm really just adding in these first layers to see where everything is going to be situated. And now a darker purple blue here. And all of the pastels that I'm using mostly Sennelier pastels, some Rembrandt, and also Cretacolor which are hard pastels. And these are all pastels that are recommended supplies in my course. So throughout the 6 weeks, I use the same sets and the same pastels so that everybody can work from the same set of pastels. So these are mainly Sennelier and they come from the Paris set. And I am just softening. I'm adding just some different hues here with the more of the purple gray and then more of a blue gray. And now this pastel is really, I would say, the star of the show of this painting. This is a hot pink Cretacolor hard pastel. And what I've done is used this hot pink hard pastel as a blending tool. So I am going over all of these areas very lightly with the hard pastel, and it is giving me those soft transitions between the pink and the grays and the blue of the sky. And I will go back again with that harder pastel. When I'm doing skies, it's all about keeping a light touch. I love the glazed effect of a sky where there's a difference of hue. Like I'm going back now into that purple, blue, darker value and just cutting in a little bit into the pink cloud. But I really want to keep a light touch. Now, I thought it would be fun in the foreground, since I'm making it up, to add some bright purple pink into the land as well. This is a nice color harmony because of all of the vibrancy and the vibrant pink in the sky. So just adding some of these vibrant touches into the ground, I just thought would be really fun to do. Now I'm using a rusty orange color in the ground, just using some light, broad strokes there, just keeping it very loose and painterly. Going back with my dark green to soften some of that and really merge it together with the foreground so that it just looks cohesive. Adding more of that green, just scumbling that on, and then back and forth again with more marks and more softening here. I don't want to blend it, but I do want to make it look cohesive. And now I have a dulled down lighter value green that I am adding into that distant grass. That's another trick to get something to recede. Again, we talked about a cooler color, but also a lighter value and just a little less saturated of a color will also help push it into the distance. Now I'm using a lighter value, bright corally pink to start to add some light into these clouds. I really love the base that I've created here with the hot pink and the transition colors with the blues and the purples. And now I want to add some light and also get that orangey quality of hue mixed in with that pink. And now here I am back again with that hot pink hard pastel. This really helped me out throughout this entire painting to act as a blending tool. And that is something that I really like to do with a hard pastel, using it as a blending tool, because it just puts down enough pigment, but it really does help to blend, but it keeps the entire painting fresh. Sometimes when you fully blend with your finger, the oils in your fingers can crush those pastel pigments and just make it look kind of flat and lifeless. But when you try to blend pastel with pastel, it keeps more of just a fresh vibrancy to it. So I went in with a little light purple there, and then back with that hard pastel to blend it and make it nice and soft. Again, I am continuing to use a light touch here in the sky. And I know with this video, I don't have the sound of the pastel. I know sometimes that can be really helpful to hear, but I had a playlist playing for our Paint Together hour. And so I had to get rid of the sound on this video. So it might be hard to tell, but I am using just a very light touch this entire time. I haven't used any really heavy pressure yet, because I want there to be a weightlessness and an airy quality to these clouds. Now here I am with that lighter purple that I added at the beginning when I said I jumped the gun and added a little bit too light of a value. I am back with that purple now. It is also a Cretacolor pastel, so it is harder, and it is just glazing a little bit of that light purple at that transitional point from pink to sky, which I think looks really nice. And I'm really just going back and forth with all the colors that I have used previously to lay down those first layers. I'm just going back and forth with all of these same colors where I add a little bit and then blend a little bit and then go back with a little bit more. And that is really my process for skies. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of push and pull, where I will add some color in the sky, but then maybe I went a little bit too far and I need to add more cloud, and then I cut in with more sky. And it really is just this back and forth process. Here I am continuing to light up those pinks with an even lighter value pink. I'm going to pop some of that there at the horizon just to get some nice light at the horizon. I am still lightly glazing here and going back with my finger as well, just to soften some of that texture down a bit. Cleaning up my horizon line, and I'm also thinking about the shape of that distant line when I do that. And then again, here I am with that hard pastel. Like I said, this was the star of the show in this one. It was the perfect color and really just helped me glaze through these pastel layers and create a really, really soft, lovely effect here. Now I'm back with that corally, bright, saturated color that I've used previously, just to soften even further, glaze even further. It is easy to continuously work the sky and clouds, so sometimes it is beneficial just to stop and step back. But I'm continuing to add just some light with that light pink, just giving these clouds some dimension. And then here's a great example. I added that light pink, but went a little bit too far. So going back in with the blue, and then again, that purple, light purple transition color, just to soften It's all a back and forth. And now I'm moving to the trees with an orange hard pastel. It's a rusty orange Cretacolor. And I really loved the idea of giving some warmth to these trees, especially with that pink in the sky. I want to think about the light quality and how that would also affect the trees and the land. And now I'm cutting in with that bright corally color to just give a little pop of a sky hole into my tree. And I'm also giving the distant tree line there where the pink is brightest, a little bit of purple, just a lighter value there. Again, warming it up. I'm thinking about the quality of light and how that is going to infiltrate the entire scene. When the sky is the source of light, and often what is happening in the sky, we need to think about how that is going to influence the land. This is just another Cretacolor hard pastel in a warm green, and I'm just giving a little bit of light there on the land. Again, I'm thinking about where the light would be hitting, just to give a few points of brightness, of light, of interest, pulling a few marks down into the foreground to draw the eye. Continuing with these few little pops of light. I often like to add I call them just sparkles, little sparkly marks of light. And now I'm back up in the sky. If you find yourself fussing a little bit too much with the sky or with any area, it's good to jump around to the painting. And here I'm coming back and I added just a little pop of a moon that is present in my reference photo. And I used a gray there and just added that tiny little mark, and then I wanted to soften it a little bit. So I'm softening it with the sky color there. I want it to be a nice pop of the moon, but look incorporated into the sky. Back with the hot pink hard pastel to just blend that out a little bit further. I really used this blending a lot with the hard pastel. And then one more little pop of light there on the moon, since I added that diffused base to it. That is the painting with the reference photo. This was so much fun to create, especially with that little moon in the end, and it was really fun to pull out those bright saturated colors in my palette. I hope you enjoyed watching, and again, I am currently enrolling for the Magic of Soft Pastel for the fall session, and I will put a link in the description for you to check that out. I would love to meet you there and have you join. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.